So now we're going to look at how to plot several measures in the same plot. So we'll start with 3 different plots. So we're going to use a different data source. So go back to data source and connect to new data source, which is unit plan DB. Bring that in, and that has forecast and price. Okay, so this is what we have here, and suppose we want forecasted cost and forecasted profit. Okay. So, and then we want forecasted profit, forecasted sales, and forecasted sales, forecasted cost, and profit. So how do we compute that? So we have unit forecast that tells us how many units we will be selling, and then we have the cost and the price, and they come from this second data source. Okay. Now we want to compute what the forecasted profit will be. So how do we do that? We have enough information from what we have discussed so far for us to be able to do this. How would you do it? How do you figure it out? Exactly. So create a calculated field. Say we'll call this forecast revenue. Right? So how would you compute forecast revenue? Unit forecast, but you have to aggregate, because when we use this field in visualization and bring in dimensions, then this field should be computed based on the values of the dimension. So you can't just simply say unit forecast. You have to sum the unit forecast. Sum unit forecast, and then what? Okay. And similarly, we have forecast cost. So that would be sum of forecast, unit forecast times sum of cost and then forecast profit, forecast revenue minus forecast cost. Okay? Yeah. So now let's plot all of this. Bring all 3 here, and then let's bring in month, year, we'll select month. So now we have three different plots, right? One for revenue, one for profit, one for cost. Okay, now how do you bring all of this into one plot? A couple of ways in which you can do. Let's do it this way. Start from here, can drag. Okay, there you go. And you can add labels, and there are several options that you can find. See, when you click labels like this, you see that there's too many labels all around. You know, it's kind of messy. We can control what we want, what labels we want. Labels, right? So here is what options we have. So we can select minimum, maximum, line ends, all is your default. There is one more way of bringing in the three graphs into the same chart. So measure values into row, month, year to column. Make it month. Okay. Measure names here to color. Then you see we have one single graph. Okay. Now there is this additional line, and that is because we have the entire measure values here. All the measures are in, and we want only these three. Okay. And then we can do more formatting. So measure names can be used in several different ways to make our charting easier. So measure names is simply the entire list of measures, okay, all the measures listed. Then measure values will be the values associated with each of those measures. So you can use a combination of measure names and measure values, and then filter out the measures that we don't want to chart several measures all at the same time. So it makes charting a little bit easier.